Hey, Josh, we're back.
We're back.
I know I mentioned this to you before, and for some reason I'm insulted. You said you're not a fan of Futurama.
No, I don't like Futurama.
Yeah, dude, you got to give it another shot. So the professor has this invention called a smelloscope,
I smell
where
this.
you point it at a galaxy or whatever, and you could smell it, and you could whatever scent from a different planet across the galaxy is. And all right, so anyway, so we talked about. We're talking about AI and productivity, and we mentioned how, everybody knows AI, but they don't know AI.
They know Haley Joel Osment. That's what they know.
Oh, whatever happened to him?
He's still alive.
Well, I didn't mean like, is it, just binary, is he dead or alive? Like, is he still an actor? Or?
Not that I'm aware of. I don't believe so. I think he's directed some stuff. I don't know. Last time I talked to him was in my imagination, and no. But he had quite a run there for a while, didn't he?
Yeah, he did. I want to rewatch that. I want to rewatch the movie. You and I talked about this. The very end, the last like 5 or 6 minutes, I thought it was phenomenal.
Oh yeah. I think it's a great movie. It's very long.
Yeah, I like long
very
movies.
Good. Yeah.
Anyway, so we were talking about AI, the fact that everybody knows it, but most people really don't know it. And you use the analogy, it's like Bitcoin, right? Where everybody's like, I don't know about that. And it's like, there's a hesitancy. They don't want to invest the time to learn it. So they do that thing where they put it off. So we're trying to get across to everybody to, hey, use it for productivity because it's phenomenal. Look at the other episode that we call low-hanging fruit on things you can do right now, today, and become more efficient. What did we say? We're gonna write a book. I have an episode on changing a life, 8 minutes, chunks of 8 minutes or something like that.
Yeah.
And the reason is because there's so many things that you could do that might take you 8 or 10 minutes that you're not thinking, well, it's not a big deal. It's only gonna take me 10 minutes. Well, you know what? Now you can do it in 15 or 20 or 30 seconds. And your point was, well, how many times repeated throughout the day where you just save maybe 2 hours of your day? And it's not fantasy. It's right there. You and I do it every day.
Oh yeah, it makes you more and more productive. And I remember one of the things that was the most effective thing that made me quit smoking was when people articulated things in time. They went, if you smoke a pack of cigarettes a day, on average, you spend 17 hours a week smoking. And I went, what? 17? It's like when you see those things where it'll say, you brush your teeth for 2.5 years of your life. So with this, buying these eight minutes, buying this time is life. We get to enjoy life,
Yes,
and no matter what you're doing, most people at their job, most jobs, you have a goal. You have things you need to get done within your work week to excel at your job, like to be the next level. These are the tools to take you to that next level, and make it where you can enjoy what you do,
Yes. And Josh, I want to pick up on something. I feel like we keep hitting on this. You hit on productivity, like be more productive, which, I couldn't agree more. But the other thing I just want to point out is it's not just that you'll get more work done, say in the 40 hours a week.
You'll be effective.
It's not just that, because then you'll start doing other work, but it's better.
Yeah, it's better.
Yes.
And it'll be effective.
We talked about low-hanging fruit, which you can watch the part 1 of this. And this is part 2 where we're talking about integration. This isn't a how-to, but let's just talk about Zapier. In case anybody doesn't know Zapier, it's a...
Is that French?
Yeah, Zapier.
Ooh, Zapier. I will have the Zapier with the...
Yeah, that reminds me, one of funniest Simpsons episode was Lisa does something and she's in French class and all the kids laugh at her, and then the teacher says, oh, no, en français. And then all the kids like, oh. So Zapier is, I don't want to lessen Zapier. It's a simple concept, right? It connects 2 apps where, something triggers, let's say in Google Excel, amount in a certain cell exceeds something, you can like trigger an email to Josh. Like, hey, Josh, look, sales just went up, right? So that's what Zapier does. So it's very fixed, right? If this happens, then that happens, right? And there's another app similar, IFTTT, which is literally if this, then that.
Is that still around?
Yeah. It's really good. It's more for home use.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sometimes, I start using, you get in bed and something, using it, and then you forget about the other one. And all of a sudden they've made leaps and bounds and you didn't know. So
you
that
mean
reminds
like Lyft? Lyft and Uber?
Yeah.
Oh, there's still Uber? Yeah.
I like Lyft better.
Everybody I know does.
ChatGPT literally has integrations with Zapier. It doesn't have any triggers where you start with ChatGPT, but you start with something else. And so what you could do is in, let's say, Excel, right? You can put in something and then you can integrate it with ChatGPT where you can say, whenever something happens, run this query on, ask for information on ChatGPT, and you can have it right there in your, your Google Sheet where it gives you the, description of what it's checking out. And you've used it manually copying, pasting, where you've copied data and said, hey, GPT, analyze this. Well, you can integrate the two together so you don't even go to ChatGPT. It's just right there.
Oh my gosh, you just gave me the solution to something I have been trying to figure out to add to somebody's website for a long time. It will actually do what I wanted. I'm not going to say what it is. It's proprietary, but it will actually.
I want to know.
Because of that. Because what I need is something to go grab me a value and enter it in a space so it can do a calculation. But I need it to grab it for me every day. A different value every day.
Utilize some of these different things and do that.
Yeah.
Josh, I want to point out some of the things that I'm saying, right now on this day at this time is going to be old school in a week.
Yeah.
Right.
And that's what I'm telling people. It's moving instead of at a glacier speed, it's moving at a comet.
The opposite of glacial?
This is like moving at the speed of light. This is going to be, nanotechnology. It's like this is going to be so what we're talking about now, literally in June, will be old news.
Yes, exactly.
Look at those old guys talking about that,
Let's come back and watch some of these in June and see what it does.
There's going to be a radio where you'll hear people talking across the room in another place. Yeah, it's going to be like us talking about transistor radios.
Yeah. I think in June, though, we're going to be talking about smelloscopes because it's going to be so far.
Yes.
Yeah. I'm going to keep throwing Futurama references in just to annoy you.
All right, I'll do KISS references then.
Okay, well, I don't mind that. I'm going to talk about calendar integration because you can integrate GPT with calendar. And so there's a few things you can do with that is you make a calendar appointment with Josh Levine or, marketing CEO of a marketing agency. You can, whenever you make an appointment, you can have it automatically do a query on that topic, say. And so right there in your calendar, you have notes or you have research just right there. Like you don't do it. You just make the appointment like you do 10 times a day, right? Because you and I had conversation this morning. God damn, this appointment's all over the place. Can't get away from them. Well, now you can have some background information. You don't do anything. It's just right there.
Oh yeah, that would be useful for meetings. Unless it was like George Smith and you're like, tell me what his wife's name is.
James.
How's Johnny doing? I have Steve as my son.
Yeah, I didn't mean just a person.
Oh yeah, no,
but
just
I meant like like we're having a meeting about some marketing tactic or campaign or concept, and then it could give you talking points, and it's just right there. So you know me, right? I'm always going into making a doc for a meeting.
Yeah.
Right. And I'm like, I'm awesome. I'm making this doc for meeting. The meeting's in a week. Right before the meeting, like 2 hours for the meeting. You know how many times I've opened up to make a document for the meeting? I'm like, oh, I did this a week ago. I was like, now I'll just have Chat GPT do it for me. One of my favorites is Google Assistant. Right. Let me be clear. Google Assistant pisses me off because it has not come very far in the last few years. I used to use. Do you remember the phone, the Moto X Motorola?
Yeah.
So it was the Moto X.
Moto.
What was that?
Hello, Moto.
Yes. Right.
Yeah,
it was my favorite phone. And they had, what was it called? They came out with an earbud. It was in a case where you slide it out. It was one earbud. It wasn't like for stereo music. It's one earbud, you put it in, and it wasn't AI. They built static commands that were common. And it was 100%. It worked. It was great. And then that went away. And then Google Assistant, which is, does use AI and it's supposed to be, more intuitive or whatever. It's inconsistent. It pisses me off, right? I'll be like, call Josh Levine. It'd be like, okay, the weather tomorrow is going to be 64 degrees. I'm like, what the hell are you talking about? Happens all the time. Anyway, there are ways that you can integrate your Chat GPT with your Google Assistant or your Siri. And I haven't done it yet. And I've told you a couple times, I'm going to sit down and do it because it's not that difficult. It's not past our skill level, but it's a couple things that you got to like sit down and roll your sleeves up and do. But now we're into the movie Her. Do you remember Her?
Yeah. Yeah. With Joaquin Phoenix.
Joaquin, I can never say it. Like, I'm always like, I don't even know what I say.
Yoakum.
Yoakum, that's what I say.
Yeah,
Part of the difficulty is he doesn't look like a Joaquin.
I've always thought the same exact thing now that you say that.
So I'm like, I can't be that because this is Frank, right? That's what he looks like. So I just never get it. Joaquin fell in love with his virtual assistant, right? That's kind of everything in a nutshell. And it was an earbud, right?
Yep.
Yeah. So that's what it was. Huh?
It's funny, we talk about tech and how like by the time you hook it up, Google's going to have Bard connected to you anyway, so you wouldn't need it.
Yeah, it is. It's going to, like, this is...
literally, it's probably a week away, so don't program it. Don't waste your time.
Right now.
Save those 8 minutes. Save those 8 minutes.
Last episode, you talked about, you had a meeting just a couple days ago with a guy, and conceptually you're talking about something, and you had your laptop, and he's sitting across the table from you, and you put into chat, you asked a query of something, whatever, it came back. And sort of on the sly, you gave him the answer. Not the answer. You said whatever you said, and he was so impressed. And then you're like, "Oh, I just typed that into AI, right?" So just imagine that. Well, you're not typing with a laptop, a big ass laptop, because your laptop.
I do have a big laptop.
Yours is not even. It's a desktop.
I said, "What's the biggest one you can get?" And HP said, "We got this 3-year-old model." I'm like, I'll take that one. It's big. I can see it.
I know. It is, though. It is nice, other than you have to have the dolly whenever you move it around. So that's kind of...
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. It does hurt my shoulder.
Yeah. I mean, it's a big-ass laptop. So that's what they should call it, the BAL.
Yeah, BAL.
So anyway...
Coming back, I hear,
So you had you had your BAL out, and you impressed that guy. But imagine if it was in your ear. And you have it on, and you actually
God, if nothing was in my... Imagine.
I don't think you can't lift it up that high. You got your neck problems, and you couldn't do that. Yeah. So the BAL is condensed to the size of an earbud, right? So you have an earbud, and it's using Chat GPT or Bard or Bing, whatever one, is the one you choose to use. And you tell it, say, hey, I'm having a meeting. I want you to come up with replies from what we're talking about, right?
Yeah.
I haven't tried that yet, but I know you could do, things like that. Right now, it's just text. But if you integrate it with voice, that's what you do.
Yeah.
And then you get these things, and you'll look like, brilliant. Matter of fact, imagine if you're a person with long hair, and you don't even see it in there.
Oh, yeah.
You don't even know they have an earbud, and you're like, this guy knows everything. Well, this girl.
Be great for the ladies.
Yeah, well, there's a lot of guys with long hair,
Great for the a lady can come up to you and go, hey, did you know that Jalen Hurts from the Philadelphia Eagles is like, the number one passer? Oh, I love this girl,
So let's just wrap up the Google Assistant, Siri, whatever. So, like, we're joking and stuff, but imagine how powerful that is. To be able to have that conversation. Like, I can talk to my Google Assistant now, and I don't have to hit the button. I'm doing that right now on the video. But I can just say, I'm not going to say it. I can say, hey, GOOGLE, because all my
stuff
Google kick off, right? Remember we were doing one, and you yelled?
Yeah.
And it kicked all my stuff off?
Yeah.
Yeah. Don't do it.
I'm tempted. I'm tempted.
So I can just, trigger it with my voice, right? And so one of the things that I thought would be so interesting is I've had like conversations with it where I'll put in a query and it answers, and I go back and forth, and I'm learning a lot about, like, could be anything, marketing, science, you know, and I'm learning. And I was thinking, I was like, I love driving. I take a drive, like, we're in Arizona. I've driven up to Canada. I've driven to Oregon, Idaho. I take all these long drives, right? Imagine having a conversation, like it's all voice. You don't have to type or read or anything.
Yeah, you'll end up being Joaquin Phoenix, and it'll always talk to you about things you're interested in.
Yeah.
You'll be like, hey.
But that's the thing. I could say, you know what? Tell me something. Tell me some topic on your own. Pick a topic and tell me about it, and you know, force yourself to learn something new.
Oh yeah, no, there's already people telling me how they're using it to learn a language by asking, like, the translation. Like not,
I didn't do
not
that
taking
yet.
one of the programs, but just asking for the translation of what they're saying. It's like, it's crazy. Yeah. See that? So now think about that. That's going to impact software companies. That's going to impact, like, yeah. So
that's a good point, Josh. You know what? We don't know what it's going to impact.
Yeah,
so
and you know, everything where I really feel like there were a couple things we touched on that, like, there's a guy already sitting with his earbud going like, I already hooked it up to that. You guys are idiots. You're like, it's already out. You know, it's
I
like,
did that at Starbucks yesterday.
Yeah. So we know, but we're trying to bring this to the masses because we are a marketing company and we're thinking the masses might pay attention to us. Yeah. And by masses, my mom will watch this.
And what we want to get across is, don't be limited by what you think you could do with it, because it can do a lot more. It can help you in ways that you're not even thinking. Real quick, Josh, tell me about, I always forget what it was. We were at a meeting last Friday, and Ken came up with an idea that I would have never thought of. What was it? What did he say?
Oh, in bankruptcy receiverships,
yes,
and writing the reports for the courts.
Yes.
And he was like, they're so time consuming. Mm-hmm. And I said, I bet they're not now. And you know what they charge, like law firms and everything charge by the hour for a paralegal or whoever writes up the documentation. Now it's literally like, here's the facts. Bang, 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 bang. Write me a report. This is the format it needs to be in.
Yep. And for all those people right now, like, oh, it's going to not have all the legalities or whatever.
Yes, it will.
Pretty close. But now all you have to do, and you would have to do it anyway, is review it.
Yeah.
If there's a mistake or two, whatever, you fix it. But it can do it. It's powerful. So, Josh, I had listed on the notes, and we're kind of bringing this back to something simple, is you had mentioned that Wix, right, the web development software platform, has it built in.
Yeah, and Unbounce does as well now.
Right.
And just since we talked last. Yeah.
That's the thing. That's the point. So when we first talked, Wix didn't have it, right? Like a week or so ago. And then Wix had it. And now Unbounce has it. And now, Constant Contact has it, right? And so they're all getting this built in. And at some point, what they're doing is they're just reinventing the wheel. They're just taking something, so you don't have to go to ChatGPT, and they're putting it right in their own, which is fine, you know. But this is going to evolve a lot more. And in our next episode, Josh, we're going to talk about different apps, and I'll just put the teaser out right now, that you can, as you know, because we've done some tests with it, you can take an image of yourself or of a stock person, a real person,
an avatar.
Upload, what was that?
An avatar.
An avatar, thank you. The Way of Water.
Yes.
You can, and then upload text, pick a voice, male, female, English accent, Australian accent,
different language,
speaking, excited, serious, monotone. You pick all that, and then it creates a real video of a real person. Their mouth is moving, talking the talk, and it matches. As we wrap up, I just wanted to say, all right, so what did we do? We said, talk about Wix. We talked about Constant Contact, Google Assistant Calendar, Google Sheets, Zapier. Dude, it's not even like scratching the surface. What you have to remember is the receiverships, right? That's not my thing. I don't know anything about it. So as soon as somebody else told me about it, and you know more about it than I, but you didn't think of it either. As soon as he said that, you and I like, oh crap, that's a nice productivity thing. How much else is out there? We don't know.
Oh
Everybody in
yeah.
every industry who does a repetitive task or does a task that's challenging and they're beating their head trying to be creative or whatever, everything that we don't know, this could probably help. And what you and I keep telling people, worst case scenario is what? It's going to give you some ideas.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and it's funny, we sat here and when we started talking about all this, I started thinking of all these different softwares that I've used that I'm like, oh my gosh, do you know what it could do with that? Do you know what it could do with that? And I think about these software companies that are valued at billions of dollars that I'm like, oh, that's going to disrupt you. Like there's a lot of people, like I've always thought about the people that this would, and I can always look at humans and go, hey, we're really good. We're tactile. We can move the objects. We can do, we come up with concepts. We can do these things. So, we'll figure it out. Like the Blockbuster employee that loses their job, you'll figure it out. The UAW worker that lost his job when robots made cars, we figured it out. The economy has a way of figuring that stuff out. But these software, some of these companies I wasn't thinking of, now I'm going, oh my gosh, their technology is open source. I know it is. And you have AI. So you're going to be able to build your own better mousetrap with their technology, and everyone has it. And now you can make your own CRM. Now you can
I'm thinking the other side of the coin is now those companies are going to say, instead of us doing all this work that we've been doing, now we can do it like that, and we can now take our resources, our manpower and our financial power, and make this new thing. That's how I look at it. So UAW workers, we created robotic manufacturers and engineers.
Yeah, and some people will, and some people will like Bethlehem Steel. They'll fiddle while Rome's burning. Yeah, and I'm not talking about the people. I'm talking about companies.
But that's the point. That's why we're doing this, right? We're trying to get everybody to say, hey, stop. I don't like saying it, dude. Stop poo-pooing this. That's where we brought up the last one. I don't even know. I think my grandmother said that, right?
Yeah.
Don't do that. Get involved. Josh and I, if you want to talk, we like talking about AI. So let us know. All right, Josh, that was great. Thanks.
You got it. See you, everybody.
Right.